Spool. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the entertainment headquarters, and welcome to Television Chronicles. This is my segment on the channel where I review things new and old on both, of course, television and these days streaming. And there's a lot of great shows out there, there's a lot of bad shows out there. And so every time I have to find a show that grabbed me interest, I'm gonna go ahead and review it. And this particular show grabbed my interest because I'm into things like Jules Verne, and obviously we had Ray Harryhausen, who did a lot of the puppetry kind of in stop motion kind of filmmaking. And I always remember things like 20,000 Leagues Beneath the Sea, things of that nature. And I love that kind of world, and I love that kind of real life back then, when you went to sea and you never know if you're going to bump into the sea creature. And of course, what kind of brought that kind of back and a lot of popularity is, of course, the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. And so I generally believe this show is inspired by all what I've mentioned. And the show I'm talking about is none other than Nautilus, which is available on Amazon Prime here in the UK. And I believe it's available on, it's either a channel called Stan or Stars, I cannot quite remember, over in the good old US of A. But to talk about this show, of course, I need somebody who, I thought might be interested in this show and might, spark some interest. So I asked Mr. Tony of the Dead to check it out. And so here we are together to review it. So first and foremost, Tony, how you doing, and what did you think of your first reactions to Nautilus?
Well, I'm doing pretty good. And my first reaction, like, well, you wanted to do this, I didn't never heard of it before. I mean, I heard of Nemo, and I don't know his adventures, but I know of him. I know what his deal is, I should say. Uh Never heard of the show until you told me, and I was like, oh man, another show. I don't know if I want to watch it. And it kind of like got me right away. It hooked me, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We had a few problems there with the episodes. Apparently, it is a thing. Like some episode in America, at least, is mixed up because I saw other people having problems. But we fixed that, thanks to you. and got to watch all of them. But yeah, pleasantly surprised. I will say that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, so me personally, I seen this advertised on Amazon Prime, like I say, but what really got me interested is when I heard that it was dropped by Disney.
Mm.
So apparently, in August of 2023, after filming was complete, it was announced Disney Plus, the original distributor, would not release the series. In August 2024, Amazon Prime Video acquired the series for distribution in the United Kingdom and Ireland, where the series was released on the 25th of October 2024. So I've seen mixed reactions to the show. Some people loved it, like I enjoyed it, and there were a lot of people that were kind of disappointed in it. And obviously, when the executives over at Disney must have viewed the show, they mustn't assumed it was going to be a hit or it was going to reach, a certain audience that they were targeting. But I generally think it's one of those shows that starts off with a bang, and then it kind of does pace down a bit. The pacing slows down, but then when some reveals are revealed and there's some kind of things start to transpire, the show definitely picks up, and it's definitely become by the end like a really good action adventure show.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's what I like. And for me personally, I didn't mind the pacing, because the issue with the pacing is it's kind of a slow burn of a show for me. It's because it's wanting you to get to know the characters, and it's wanting you to develop like a relationship
Right.
for you to like feel the characters. So let's get cracking, Tony, and talk about Nautilus. So Nautilus is a British 10-part television adventure drama created by James Dormer. It is a reimagining of Jules Verne's 1870 novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, presenting an origin story for Captain Nemo, an Indian prince turned crusading scientist. So that is the basic of it. And so the show starts in 1857. In the cast of the show, there is quite a lot of cast members of this show.
Yeah.
So these are the main cast members of the show. These are the crew, the people who end up becoming the crew of the Nautilus. Shazad Latif as Captain Nemo. Georgia Flood as Humility Lucas. That's the lady next to Nemo.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have Therady Fairmont as Gustave Benoit. I don't know if he's there. I cannot remember.
There's a
Uh,
couple missing from the picture, but yeah.
yeah, there is a couple of missing. Pacharo Mazibi as Boniface. He's definitely there. He's the guy in the blue. Orlo Green is Turan. I think that is the guy in the yellow.
Yeah.
And then you've got Tyron Nagati as Kai, Ling Cooper as Tang as Sung, Andrew Shaw as Jacobo, Ashin Kumar as Ranbar. You've got Celia Celine Menville as Lottie. So Lottie is the one at the end next to
Yeah.
Boniface there, or she's like a maid / bodyguard to the character of Humanity.
Mm-hmm.
And there is a few villains, and the villains for me are what make this show.
Ooh.
The villains for me definitely make the show, and the villains are, it definitely feels like Pirates of the Caribbean. So this is the main villain.
Oh.
Yeah. He is one hell of a arsehole.
Oh yeah.
Damien Garvey is Director Crawley. So he is a villain. And this guy is a villain. So he basically is a childhood friend of Nemo, but then there are shocks that are revealed
Oh
that
man.
shows basically what he becomes and how he becomes who he is. I think he's Captain Billy Milanis.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's Milanis, and then you do have another character who you don't know which way the wind's gonna blow with him. You don't know if he's gonna end up being a villain or a hero, but this is this character. That's Captain Youngblood. He's played by Jacob Collins Levy. And we do have a special appearance by Richard E. Grant. So, Mr. Tony of the Dead, where
Yes.
would you like to start with this show?
Well, you said it starts off with a bang, so let's start with the bang.
Yes. So at the start of this show, basically, it's the year is 1857, and the British East Indian Mercantile Company currently wields more power than any nation on earth.
Yep.
And thanks to its private armies and navy, while stealing the riches of the nations they subdue. In Kapani, India, I'm sorry, anyone who watches this if I'm butchering the names of these places, but my pronunciation can be rather crap. But at least I'm honest about it. So, Kalpani, India, a massive submersible ship, the Nautilus, is being secretly built by the company using slave labor from the colonial prisons.
Yeah.
That's a so it basically starts off in the prison where you see Nemo, who's basically being held there. You hear the backstory and the flashbacks that his wife and his family's been murdered and slaughtered. He was a rich, prince. He's
Yeah.
now basically in this imprisonment camp, and he's like a lost soul. He's lost his family, and then but he's a very intelligent man. He's not just, stereotypical Indian prince.
No.
He's a prince who's very intelligent. He's into the ways of the world. He likes to learn and discover things about the world. He likes to educate himself. And
But nobody
he gets,
knows he's a prince.
yes, but
He
nobody,
just knows.
only he knows he's a prince at this point. He's kind of like hidden, and he's kind of keeping that part of him a secret. And he was putting this encampment after the death and murder of his family, and basically all of the riches, and probably somebody betrayed the family. Somebody betrayed the family to this company, the British company, and because of that betrayal, his family were killed, and he basically was put in this prison encampment while they're building the Nautilus.
Yep.
And he makes a decision that he's going to break out of the encampment, take a handful of people with him to become the crew of the Nautilus and set sail, not only to free himself and to get freedom for his people and for the people of this imprisonment encampment, but he also wants to totally obliterate and stop the company that's basically turned the world upside down.
Yep.
So, his thoughts on the story and the characters up to this point, Tony?
It's a good start because like you said, they see them like working on the Nautilus, and there's another friend that he has there with him working on it, and they have this plan to like take it in 3 days and basically stop the company with it. And there's been, how do you say his name? Benoit.
Benoit.
Yeah, he's like the other guy. He's like the guy in charge of them, but like he's not a prisoner of the company, but he kind of is in a way. Like everybody kind of is. He works for them, but like he's building this for them, but they don't want to give it to them. And so they have a little plan that they want to take over this thing, but stuff happens a little too
Yeah.
early on. And
Yeah, so they've got this 3-day plan, and then suddenly they've got to up the plan, haven't they? They've got to like fast forward the plan
yeah.
because events transpire around them that, everything timed, everything was going to plan, but then something happens and they end up having to like push up what they want to do, and it ends up becoming an all-out battle to get out of this prison to seize the Nautilus. And for me, like you say, the first couple of episodes, it's thrilling. It hooks you in, and you just want to see what's gonna transpire with Nemo.
Mm-hmm.
And after a tug of war and a back and forth with a number of the characters, he does eventually get his hands on the Nautilus, and they do escape.
Yep.
And
But,
and
as I said, but
go
not
on.
without casualties.
Oh yeah,
It's
there's
it's
a lot of death right off the bat.
yeah, because like there's a lot of soldiers and everybody they all have guns, and of course the prisoners don't have anything, so they're kind of like,
Mhm.
and they have to like his friend. I can't remember his friend's name. He's not really relevant because they don't ever
Mhm.
mention him really again, which is sad because he kind of sacrificed himself to get the Nautilus off because he had to like untie things, and he ends up blowing up.
But
They shot at him and blew him up.
yeah,
So
yeah.
I
There's a
feel
lot.
like they should have honored him a little more.
Yeah, I was thinking that. Like, yeah, the way they built that character up right from the beginning is that you thought he was going to be like probably one of the main characters or the main cast members,
Yeah.
and then they kill him off quite easily right at the beginning. But I think that was to shock you and to make you go, no one's safe, and to basically make you sure anyone could die at any point,
Yeah.
which a lot of like the bigger shows are doing. Like Walking Dead, there's a lot of characters you're on the tip of your seat waiting to see who was going to die or who was going to stay alive. And Nemo, this show itself, it's not on the level of Walking Dead. It's definitely more aimed at kids and family friendly
Mm-hmm.
audience. So I don't think they can go too far with it, but it still can do a lot of surprises. Me
Yeah.
personally, when it comes to this show, it feels like it was something that potentially could have been made by the BBC. It feels like it could have competed with the likes of Doctor Who.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, when you said BBC, it does feel like a Doctor Who universe
Yeah,
kind of.
yeah. Well, it's a British 10-part series, so I think it was co-produced and co-made by a British production company as well as Disney.
Hmm.
So I don't know if that may be the downfall of this. I think the BBC should have bought it off of
Amazon or
Disney,
Disney.
and I think if they showed it on a Sunday night, because Sunday night, yeah, it's Saturday about 6-7 o'clock is generally when the showcase Doctor Who over
Okay.
here, and it always gets bigger audiences, but the audiences for that are starting to dwindle a bit because people are unhappy with the direction of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I generally think this could have been an easy replacement for that time slot when the next series ends, because
Yeah.
it definitely feels like a fully functional British made show, how
Mm-hmm.
it's operated. Um,
I
but
agree.
yeah, but like, so one of the prisoners forced to build the Nautilus was Nemo, who also designed the Nautilus, his engines. So that just shows you how intelligent Nemo is.
Yeah.
He's not just like a prince that sits around eating grapes with people waving big, flags at his face, going, "Would you like some more, sir?" He's actually well educated, and
Oh
he's
yeah.
he's like I see, he's a man of the world because
Mm-hmm.
he likes to know how the world operates. So because he's actually was involved with the building of the Nautilus, that kind of gave him an advantage, and that's how probably yes, there was lots of sacrifices, but that was how he was able to steal the Nautilus because he knew enough about it.
Yeah. Yeah. He was kind of like second in command with Benoit. He was kind of like his assistant, basically, but like they were both building it. And in fact, when they left early, it wasn't even complete. they were like, we can't leave yet. It's not. We still have stuff
Yeah.
to build on it. But they're like,
Yeah.
it's now or never.
Yeah, so when he planned the uprising, it was announced that it had to leave to go to Bombay earlier. So it really just knocked everything on its ass.
Yep.
But eventually they did get their hands on the Nautilus, and Nemo and his followers still managed to successfully overtake the Nautilus and escape out to sea. Now hunted by the East Indian Mercantile Company and its vengeful dictator Crawley, both of whom want the Nautilus back, and Nemo dead. Nemo and his motley crew sail beneath the seas on a mission of retribution and vengeance to utterly destroy the power of the company and the company itself. And through each episode, we're introduced to different characters. And, you know, like I say, you've got this photo here, and you've got the character there of humility, Lucas, who she is the daughter of a well-known, I guess, aristocrat, but she's not any typical woman. She's a woman that wants to make her own, a path in the world. And her mother, who is now recently widowed, I think they're having financial difficulties, and it's soon revealed that the mother has betrothed a daughter onto a young, wealthy aristocrat who also happens to be a shareholder in the company.
Yep.
And he is a complete prick.
Yep.
He's one of the most disliked characters in this show.
Yeah. He's like a snobby, rich, arrogant little shit.
Yes, like I know it's the actor's job to make you dislike him, and he did a fantastic job, because I just wanted that fucker dead every time he was on screen. I was waiting for somebody to put snooker balls or something in a rucksack and just bash the fuck out of them.
That didn't happen though.
It's me dream, though.
Yeah.
But
he had promise at first though, when he first met her and saw how beautiful she was. I know we're getting ahead, but like I thought, oh, okay, maybe he'll end up being a nice guy.
Yeah, you were hoping he would switch that. The story arc is he was like going to be this snobbish, arrogant aristocrat, but then when he falls in love with her and he sees, she's not just in a stereotypical woman, that she's a strong lady, and he falls for her, and that he changes and he respects her, where that does not happen at all. He just totally disrespects her, wants nothing to do with her. But then she's got by her side Lottie, our maid, who's like a badass. She's just a complete, but she's such a strong, amazing character in this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I really
she's there to just make sure what she gets taken to the prince.
Yes.
Well, is he a prince or was he just a rich guy? I can't remember.
He's just a rich aristocrat. He's like he's obviously born into a wealthy family with a silver spoon in his mouth.
And his ass.
Yeah, up his ass.
Yeah.
And he's just a shit, but he's just irritating, and you just hate him. But like I say, Crawley is the one to hate, who runs the company. He is just evil to the core.
Evil, man. Like look at that expression on his face. He has the most evil expressions, and it's just like, man, he plays a good villain, man.
He does.
Great.
And he's a clatter. I know I've never really seen that actor in anything else, but I looked him up a little bit, and he's played a lot of like he's done a lot of Shakespearean work. He's done a lot of so Damien Garvey's the actor's called, and I think he's Australian. And
is he?
He's an Australian actor, and he's done a lot of like Shakespearean, a lot of Edwardian stuff. So things like he's done like Oliver in theatre, so he's played like Arthur Dodger and stuff like that. So you can tell, and I often find if you're like trained by, say, the Royal Shakespeare Company, which is in the UK, it's a huge, it's like a huge theatre company. It's like where a lot of the best have worked. So you've had Patrick Stewart work for there, Ian McKellen, all these classically trained actors make the best villains. I think even Kevin Spacey, who obviously is American, he actually went to London and he actually was like a director there for a long time until his career went tits up. Literally. Literally.
Ooh.
Even though he's not into tits.
Oh, man.
But as the plot progresses, then, Nemo discovers, he gets his hands on a map. And the map's leading into some sort of treasure, and they try following the map. And it's because they find this map, and, Humanity and Lottie then join the crew under, crazy over-the-top circumstances. They ended up getting together, and she ends up being a part of the ship and part of the crew. They end up going on this big adventure where they end up lost at sea, they're trapped under the water, they come across a giant squid at some point, which nearly devours the ship. They then try and repair the ship, they end up going to some island. And when they're on the island, there's like these lost British soldiers who basically lost the freaking marbles, who they believe this giant river eel is a god of some kind. And it's not a god at all. It's just a really large predator that, will eat anything, and it goes on the rampage. It then actually follows them back into the sea, so it must be saltwater based as well as freshwatered. And it actually goes into the water and actually goes into the sea, and it actually starts messing with the Nautilus and causes like malfunctions because of its electric eel abilities. I'll be honest, them episodes, the one with the squid and the one with the eel, are probably my favorite episodes.
Yeah, because it's pretty early on when you like right away you get like the squid, which is like, everybody probably that was in the book, right? I never read the book, and I don't think I've ever seen the movie. But
well, like I say, it's not following the Jules Verne book like verbatim, like chapter to chapter. It's inspired by the book and his work. So, and it's the same with Pirates of the Caribbean. You can tell that's inspired by, because obviously they had the giant kraken in the Pirates of the Caribbean, which the effects of the kraken were absolutely awesome.
Yeah, well, those movies are great too. They're like a more high quality of this show in a way.
Yeah.
I did like that. I don't know. I liked. I can't remember. I can't really say which ones were my favorite. I like where you get to know everybody, where they were like on the edge, and they're like, we have to go back this way, and then like as they were telling each other like their stories, they would like go to the other side of the ship, and it was like, we trust you now, we're on your side, and you get to know them. I like that because of the development of the characters, and that's the one thing this show has is like it's. You said slow burn. I don't think it was a slow burn at all. I enjoyed learning and getting to know these characters because they're all incredibly interesting. Their backstories are interesting, and they just kind of like, okay, we're doing this, and they don't even really know each other. They're just prisoners together, and now they're a crew together, and it's the responsibilities that they take on. It's like he was really trusting to trust like these prisoners that he doesn't even, I guess he knows from being in there, but like they're in prison, but it's, I don't know. I think Atlantis was my favorite. One of my favorites.
Yes. I think why I said it's a slow burn, it's like what I said right at the beginning. It starts with a bang.
Yeah.
And then the first 4 episodes, like I say, you go from them escaping from the prison to them on the run, to them meeting this squid underwater.
Or are they on the swim?
Yeah. Funny. There's a picture of the Nautilus, by the way. I'll just show people the picture of the Nautilus. That is the Nautilus.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's so cool.
And this is Atlantis. And like I was going to say, why I found it a slow burn is because a lot of great stuff happened right at the beginning, the first 4 episodes. You had the prison break, you had them on the run, you had them meeting the squid, they had to go to repair the Nautilus or to find food on this island, to have the big adventure with the giant eel. And then they end up going down, they're trapped, and because of the interference of the eel, the next episode is where it's knocked the power off the Nautilus because of the electricity from the eel, and they get stuck in this underwater current that's dragging them towards what they call the Rings of Fire, which is a giant underwater volcano, which is just another amazing element of the story. And it's during that time that they find the Atlantis.
Yep.
And there's like them giant little metal crab creatures inside Atlantis, which was fucking creepy.
No, those weren't inside Atlantis. Those the ones in Atlantis were those. They saw the what are they called? Fossils on the wall. And then they were, remember, because the one guy was like, and they were choking him.
Yes, yeah, the fossils. They were like giant, coral / fossils, and they were like they just attached themselves to people and suckered them onto the walls and were eating them.
There were so many of them. They just like pulled the guy away, and that is crazy. Like, I don't know. It was like they were like 3 millipedes stuck together, and they were like flowy because it's in water. That's another thing too. Like, it's not like a cheesy, like the DC shows could be a little cheesy at times with their effects and that.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like the underwater effects for this, it felt like they were actually underwater. Like, deep water and darkness like that creep me out. Like, it scares me. I can never ever be in the water. Like, I don't think I would be on the Nautilus as much as I want. I don't want to drown, in a metal container. But not that they did, but
yeah, I knew somebody who worked for the British Royal Navy, and he worked on the ships. And he says being on the ships is claustrophobic in itself, but at least you can go up ground and just stand on the deck and look out and get some fresh air. And he actually went to one of the bases, and he actually got a tour of one of the giant nuclear subs that we have. That patrol the British waters, and he went inside. He goes, yes, they're a larger size when you look on them on the outside, but he goes, once you get inside, he goes, if anybody is claustrophobic, it will be your worst nightmare, especially if you're out to sea and you're stuck in one of them for say less than 2 days. You would have cabin fever. You've got to be really disciplined to want to work in a sub. But it also must be, as much as it's claustrophobic, it must be crazy. It must be very rewarding or very adventurous to knowing you're deep down in the ocean. But you don't really get to say anything because it's all scanners and there's no windows or anything. It's all just whatever the light is within the confines of the sub. Unless the Nautilus, which looks like a nice cozy place to sleep.
Yeah, they have nice rooms. The thing they have the panel that could come down so you don't see anything, but then it opens up and you see the ocean and stuff. And like, I think I'm claustrophobic, so I don't know if I could. I definitely couldn't be on that sub you were talking about, but I don't know. I think that maybe I could be on Nautilus because I think the crew makes each other comfortable enough. They're all first for each other, so maybe if I was on there, they would like me. But I'd be scared, man. I'd be scared.
Yeah. But it's just one overall big adventure. Like you see, you go through the Rings of Fire that they follow in this map. They then find some treasure. They then end up going to another island, which has got the Richard E. Grant character, who pretends he's going to be the friend and he's against the company, but he's secretly working for them. And that Crawley guy shows his true intentions, and he's just And it all culminates in them finding an island of this lost. It's like the Amazonian island. It reminded me of something like Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman. Yep.
Reminded me of Wonder Woman, where all of the inhabitants on this island are women, and the badass warrior women, and that's the island that had them little robot-y things, didn't it?
It was around there. Because it was biting through there. Was it before that, or see? I'm sure we're kind of jumping around, but there was a point. It was like these little metal eating bugs, and they were ripping a hole in the ship.
Yeah, they were ripping a hole in the Nautilus, and they had to try and get rid of them before it caused damage, where the Nautilus would have been unusable, but they were in the depths of the ocean when it was happening.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of an interesting scene too, because I have to look at his name. The guy who was all about love and romance. They're like saying he was like the.
So is he on this photo?
No, he's one of the ones that are missing from it. He's the guy who like wooed the queen. Or the female
the baldy ginger bearded guy.
No, not him. The guy who's like he was the French guy who like talked to the main metal eating bug that he like tried to like he was singing to her.
Oh yes, I know who you mean.
You got to like see a little different side of him because he's kind of like it's like well, I get he's a crew member, but like he doesn't really do much. And then like it's like okay, he uses expertise to charm her and enough to like they can grab her and then put her on the missile or on the torpedo.
Yes.
That was a pretty interesting episode though, like because the room's filling up with water and there's this she's kind of in a way dare I say she's kind of cute. Like it's like I was hoping that they would like she would like him and like follow him around and like it'd be like part of their crew, like this little metal eating mama.
Well, I was wondering what was going to happen when they had and she died straight away. I thought they were going to make kind of a character on the island with the giant eel, and then they get back to the boat and the young ensign saying, "You need to come down. You need to get inside the ship quick." And she's like, "You're not telling me what to do." And next thing you know, the eel just pounces out of the water and swallows her.
Yeah.
So it just shows you people who you think are going to have like a part in the story end up dying or in shocking ways, which I think is one of the elements that makes it so entertaining.
Yeah. Oh, didn't she say like, I you know how I lived this long? I forget how she said like I've lived this long by doing what I do, and then or something like that, and then it's like well, you should have got in.
It didn't work.
No.
But the big twist and the big reveal, and I think it was the biggest, most shocking reveal. Yeah, throughout the show, you get flashbacks and you get hints that the person who betrayed Nemo was a close friend.
Yeah.
And then you finally reveal that the captain, Captain Bollocks, I call him.
Billy Bollocks.
Billy Bollocks, yes, because he's such a pain in the arse. This was a Captain Billy Milanis, who's played by Luke Arnold. He actually grew up with Nemo. And you know, they had a past, they had a childhood friendship, and you know, he was bullied and there was a lot going on. Nemo was there for him. And like I said, somebody sold the family out, and it was him. His childhood friend sold Nemo out, and his wife and his child was killed.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, he's now part of the company, and because he's part of the company and he's got revenge in his eyes, Nemo wants nothing but revenge on him. He finds like the lost treasure, and then he finds like, you know, the mines, and he sets up another master plan that they're going to go back to England going to take the Nautilus with them. They're then going to try and buy shares of the company, so they actually become major shareholders within the company. Because once they've got the shares and they've got power within the company, they've got more of a chance to dethrone it. And that's exactly what happens. Humanity and Lottie end up going back to her arsehole, shitty little fiance to be, and they trick him into signing over his shares. Each of the other members of the crew just, they find little ways, little schemes to get people to sign over their shares. And the biggest scheme is when Nemo is in nice, Edwardian clothing. He goes like the giant, he goes to the giant, I guess it's the company headquarters in the tea room area. And there's all these aristocrats, wealthy business people sitting smoking cigars, drinking tea or having little beers, and he meets an aristocrat there and he says, I have all these mines, I'm desperate to sell them, and he says, I want £1 million for them. But because he's told the man in front of him that he wants £1 million, he only offers 300,000.
Yeah.
And he's trying to take advantage. But the game is once again played by Nemo because it's all a setup to get this older gentleman who's sitting to the side of them listening to get his shares.
Yep.
And he's got like a huge majority of shares within the company because he's a lot older gentleman. Like, he's basically close to retirement, and I think he just wants to get rid of his shares. So he obviously sells him the mines, the details of the mines for these large share, and then they head off to the main, I guess it's like where they go to the court room where they do, the talk business, and there's Crawley, and in comes Nemo, and he's like, I'm here, I want you all to leave the company, and I want to abolish the company. I want you all to go on your way, and I want you to all stop attacking companies and all this. And Crawley is like irate and saying how you can't do this. He's telling all the soldiers and the army officers to attack Nemo, to, obviously be like, I want you to kill him. But then he's telling all the soldiers, you are only sacrificing your lives, and you're only, going around the world killing men, women, and children, while he sits in his office back in England getting richer and filling his pockets.
Yep.
And he has no power if you are doing his bidding. So because he kind of talks them all down, they all one by one start to leave, including the other captain, this captain who kind of, for a long time when the plot of the story was on the side of Crawley, but as he sees how cruel and manipulative he's becoming, he decides to turn on him and join in the side of Nemo.
Yep.
And, basically the company is abolished, but Crawley is so irate that he decides that he's going to go after Nemo still, and he has his own vessel known as the Dreadnought.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And he goes after him with the Dreadnought, and at the same time, he's also got a copy of the original plans for the Nautilus. And this is where things kind of get weird, because there's a giant sea battle between the Nautilus and the Dreadnought, because now that the company is being abolished, now that the company's been, destroyed, he knows Crawley's going to come at him full guns blazing, and there's like a cat and dog battle for the Nautilus to get out of British waters and to get through London, the London canals and through London Bridge before the Nautilus can catch it and blow it up. And there's right at the beginning of the series, there's a huge battle, and there's lots of sacrifice that goes on.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's not the company being disbanded. Now they have the British Army after them, like the whole all them after. So now it's like, oh man, like I feel bad for them in that. It's like they got their freedom. Like I call him Homelander because he looks like Homelander, but like he's like, all they want is their freedom. like, stop.
Mhm.
And Crawley like hijacks the ship. That's when the whole battle's like shoot. He's gonna like shoot the sonar guy,
Mhm.
which I felt bad for him because Crawley's like right in his face in that part. He's like, "How could you've lost them? How could they be gone?" And he's like, and they're listening for like, which kind of reminded me of some movie from the 90s where they were trying to be quiet underwater, or was it Down Periscope? I think it was, and then like somebody farts or something. They're like, "What was that?" But in here, they had to have the dog quiet, and then that's where they first discover that somebody's hiding on the Nautilus
Mhm.
um, early on. But like, um, yeah, that part reminded me like how they have to be quiet, and he's listening, but he was gonna shoot him, and then that that captain's like, "Do what he says," and that's when they start chasing him, and this is the part where we're like, why didn't they just dive? Like
Mhm.
they're going underwater like this, like they could just go like this, how they push the thing forward and then just
Yeah.
go.
But I don't think the river was deep enough for it to do a full dive yet. They had to get
Mm.
further out towards the bridge, which once you get through London Bridge, the water must get deeper to the point where they can dive so they can safely head out to sea.
Yeah.
Uh,
Well,
so
plus
that's
they
probably
did have
why
those
it
2
didn't.
guys on the bridge, yet they had to get them.
Yeah. So there's
So,
a great action sequence where there's the two guys and the two young men on the bridge, and like you said, the one who they call Homelander, the good guy,
yeah.
he sees them on the bridge and he's kind of bonded with them. Captain Youngblood, he's kind of
Yeah.
bonded with them, and Crawley's got his gun and he's trying to shoot them down off the bridge because unknown to Crawley, they've been setting up explosive devices.
Mhm.
So they end up blowing up the top of the London Bridge, which crumbles after the Nautilus has safely gotten through. But before that happens, and I remember we watched this episode last night, and you were pissed off. The fact that
Uh,
Crawley's, ordering to shoot the two young lads down who are only young, it's between 16 and 18 year old, and Crawley's demanding Youngblood in the army officer to shoot them down, and they all hesitate. So he gets his gun and he goes to shoot them. And there's a go between Crawley and Youngblood, and Youngblood unfortunately is killed.
yeah.
He's shot and he dies in the arms of his other of one of the soldiers who, Crawley then kind of Crawley's watching what's happening, and they kind of survive because of the back and forth with Crawley and Youngblood. It gives the young'uns an opportunity to escape, and the Nautilus manages to just get through the bridge before it explodes.
Yep.
And when the Nautilus is going out deeper into the river towards the ocean, one of the soldiers looks at Youngblood and says they've survived and they've gotten through. They're gonna
Yeah.
make it, and you just see like a relief on his face. So his sacrifice was worth it.
Yeah. And he just passes out, passes away, and it's like, oh, because in the beginning he starts off like they're on that ship with humility, and her and him have this kind of like flirtiness toward each other, and it's like he kind of seems like he's going to be like a snobby captain, like kind of like that the other guy that was supposed to marry her, um
Mhm.
Algernon.
Yeah, yeah. You mean Nemo? You think is gonna be his snobby captain?
No, the young blood at first, where he's like
Oh
on there,
yes,
he
yes.
kind of seems like, and then uh it's like, oh, I don't know, and then because he's part of it, and he's like, well, Crawley's in charge, he has to listen to him. You could tell he's hesitant. Same thing with Billy at first. It's like they don't like Crawley. They know that what they're doing is probably wrong, but they like, what are they supposed to do? And I thought, well, hopefully becomes a good guy, and he does. He does. He ends up being right, but then Billy, he I was so surprised with his character
Hmm.
because he blames Nemo because he was in school, and I guess Nemo. had a thing back then. I get he blew stuff up, and it caused him to get the other guy to get kicked out of school and all that, and that was his grudge against him because he lost his education, all that stuff. So he had to. But he's like way up in the ranks in here, so I don't think his life went so. I mean, it sucks with who he's working for, but like he's not in the streets poor, you know.
Yeah.
But like to do what he did to Nemo for that is way extreme. And so I was, as much as I started to like Billy, especially when they were doing that. What is that game called, Kevin? It's not. Is it baseball to them or
It's cricket.
cricket? I was gonna say cricket, but I didn't know if that was exactly cricket.
Yeah,
But
it's called. I
they
don't like cricket. It's not something I would play.
we play cricket here, but it's not like that. It's like different. I don't know, but yeah, when they were playing that thing because they got stuck in the ice, we didn't talk about that episode, which is like more like a kind of a crazy episode because they're like going through the ice and then they get stuck, and then the dreadnought gets stuck in the ice too. So
And they kind of have a truce.
yeah, they're like, let's have a truce. We need to
I,
use your forge and
I
stuff like
think
that.
that entire episode was inspired what happened in the World War, where
Oh
it was
yeah,
when it was Christmas one year, and there was the German soldiers and the British soldiers, and they decided to play a game of football, and there was like a truce for that one day.
yeah.
And there was, that's actually an event that's been recorded. It generally, I think, happened. So I generally feel that this episode with the winter episode stuck in the ice, I generally feel that was inspired by that.
Yeah, I would see that. Yeah, I would say that could be, but that was a very interesting episode because as much as they wanted to kill each other, they're both stuck. We'll help you if you help us. We'll pull you out if you fix our, with your forge. If we can use your forge, and then in the
Mm-hmm.
meantime, they challenged them because they were doing all the work while they're playing cricket. And
Mm-hmm.
then they challenged them, and they're like, "That's the one thing that the Indians and the British have a conflict over." And then they play like a friendly game of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then Billy bats for on Nemo's side, and they're like kind of like becoming friends. And I was like, "Oh, okay." This is where I thought Billy was going to turn around,
And then
And
at the end of the episode, as you can tell, there's still that divide.
yeah, because he sent the letter to the company. Was it the
Mm-hmm.
company that he sent the letter? Yeah, and about Nemo, where he was going and stuff. And it's
Mm-hmm.
like and Crawley found out about that
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. Oh yeah, it was a very interesting episode. I like that
I
episode a
just
lot
think
too.
Billy's like he was a tormented child who was bullied, and Nemo was there and he wanted to be like the bullies. It's like he's still trying to fit in with those that tortured him as a kid.
Well,
Even
remember they were torturing Nemo. They were like picking on him, and he's like, "Don't worry, you got this." And he was at bat, and that's probably how they became friends. But
Mhm.
yeah,
And it's
Billy is
like,
Billy's an angry man.
yeah, he's got a lot of issues.
Mm-hmm.
But in all, the series ends with, like most series that leave it open for a sequel series or a season 2. Now,
Oh yeah.
season N1 where Crawley got his comeuppance, where you had the
Mm-hmm.
map of the Nautilus that he had stolen, or the replacement map, and he was planning on getting replicas of the Nautilus built to chase after the original. He's all guns blazing to go after Nemo after the downfall of the company. He's now got vengeance in his eyes, but then something happens. He's then, as he's walking to, I guess, some factory where these new Nautilus replicas are going to get built, he's suddenly approached by somebody and is killed. And this person, when they kill him, they take away the map of the Nautilus. So
Yep.
who's the person who has the map, and where's it going to lead? And then
Yep.
also Billy doesn't die, I don't think, or did he die? He got stabbed, didn't he?
No,
They
he
had
didn't die.
he didn't die. They had that big sword battle, and
He got his
Nemo
face
got,
cut. He leaned. He didn't cut it. He leaned the blade on it and
yeah,
pushed.
yeah, he
Yeah.
got the upper hand of the battle. And yes, son.
Hello, Logan.
And
Yeah.
he got the upper hand of the battle, and because he got the upper hand of the battle,
Well,
n-
Nemo, this is what happened. He said he was going to kill him, and he's like, Prince, whatever his name was, is dead. I'm Nemo. And he kind of like, that's, he's letting him go.
mhm,
And Crawley, when he got killed, it was by the stowaway, Edward
yes.
Cuff. And
So it
who was
makes
another guy in the whole show, Kevin? I don't know if you was like, is this guy good or bad? Are they gonna like forget what he did in the beginning, or what?
mhm.
Like, I mean, they don't know, but are they gonna like? Is the show gonna forget about that? Are we supposed to like not
Yeah.
remember that?
But then it makes you think when the stowaway was on the ship and he was doing all the dirty work for what you think's Crawley, it seems to me now he's a double agent. He was obviously doing whatever he was doing for Crawley, but he was
Mhm.
obviously working for somebody else, because then obviously whoever else he's working for asked for Crawley to be killed.
Yeah.
And of course, it ends eventually where humility and Nemo finally kiss.
Yeah.
And they give into the feelings, because don't forget, Nemo, he was on a quest for vengeance and redemption for the death of his wife and his child. So because he's finally been able to revenge them, it's
Mhm.
like he can move on with his life, even though he's probably going to be on the run for a while and hiding from whoever's coming after him next. So,
Yeah.
but he can move on slightly by getting himself into a new relationship with her humanity. And obviously, you've got Lottie's now. She's got her man now as well.
Yeah.
So
And
if
that
they do,
it ends sadly though,
it does end
but in a good
sadly.
way.
They kill one of the main characters who you didn't know which way it was going to go. But like you see, for them to get away, they had to have someone sacrifice themselves.
Yeah.
And in all, for me, it's a great action adventure show. It's a show that has a great beginning, a really strong middle, and then it does, like I say, it does have pacing issues. Like I say, I can in one way understand why Disney Plus let it go, because it doesn't feel like a Disney Plus show that would be on Disney. It does feel like it was built for the BBC.
Yeah.
The budget as well, the effects are still great, but I can see it's not like on the level of what a Disney show would be on. But it fits perfectly on Amazon Prime, and if there is a second season, I hope they go more down the action adventure route, because we've now defeated the company. We can still have the company involved. We can still have them trying to get revenge. But I want to see a full-fledged, sea word adventure. Oh, because don't forget, the giant squid's still out there somewhere. The giant eel's still out there. What other monsters are out there? What other islands are left to be uncovered? And,
Yep.
we've seen with the Pirates of the Caribbean what can be done.
Yep.
So it'd be interesting to see if they find an underwater city with mermaids or something of that nature.
That'd be very, very cool.
Mhm.
Like, the movie is just a movie. The show is just like full of fantasy and like, being that it's in the 1800s, the things that they built. I said this to you last night. Imagine if they actually could do that, or did do that in the 1800s,
Mhm.
what we
Mhm.
would have now. But like,
Mhm.
it's just such a good fantasy world. Yeah, there is, people get hurt and everything. It's not exactly for kids, but like, the visualization, the story, uh, the effects are good. There's so many likable characters in
Mhm.
this. One of them being the guy that never talks English, the Giacomo, who
Yes.
at when they go to this asylum in the last episode, and he ends up talking to somebody who's talking his language, and then it's like, you don't remember me? He's like, what do you say? Like, I'm you're not his father, but it's like basically like we're family, something like that. So he's gonna stay behind to find out more about his past because he doesn't remember stuff. So there's like that story we got to get back in another season. Like he's like such a great crew member, and the fact that he's not on the Nautilus right now, it's like, oh man, he needs to be on it. Like, but I also want to know more about him.
Yeah, they've kind of left it open-ended for whether there is a season 2 or not.
Yeah,
there
definitely could be though, because
mm-hmm.
the ocean's huge. Like you said, there's so much more out there. This show could go on for a long time.
I think if I was a showrunner and it did get the viewership that they wanted, and they do decide to greenlight a second season, I reckon they would probably last about 4 seasons would be the maximum I think they could go.
Yeah,
Depending on the plots. But don't forget, Amazon Prime's huge. The Prime Video, that's worldwide, and I know in the UK and Ireland it was shown, but in the US it was shown on either Stan or Stars, and I don't know if that's a well-known, well-liked channel. So it really
Stars over here is.
Yeah. So it really just depends if it does well there as well, because I think obviously Amazon would only, fork out for a second season if it made, the viewership and got the streams. But in all, great show, great characters, great adventure, great monsters. The effects are great. It pulled at your heartstrings when it wanted to, and it took you on an adventure when it wanted to. So in all, if you had to rate this, Tony, what would you rate it out of 10?
Oh, man, I wanted more. Like, and I'm not saying I didn't have enough. I just wanted it to not stop. I wanted to go into a season 2. I honestly, I liked it a lot. I would say 10 out of 10 for me, honestly. I had no interest in this show, and then I'm just like, this is good. Like and the episodes went by kind of quick for me because I was so into it. I was invested into the characters, which good for me.
Yeah, good. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did.
I'm gonna give this a 8 out of 10, just because, like I say, I did enjoy it, but I did think the first half of this series was full paced, and it did for me have pacing issues. It slowed down, but it's like you've mentioned, the reason it did slow down slightly is because they wanted to bond with the characters, and they succeeded, because at the end I really cared what happened to them. Yeah. So it did what it wanted to do. But for anybody that is interested and has, managed to get this far away with being reviewing it, I'm just going to show you a little bit of what the Nautilus is all about.
So many things we will see that no one has ever seen.
The corporation's more powerful than any country. We must maintain dominance. That is why the Nautilus was developed.
I can taste freedom, Nemo. It's now or never. This is Nemo. We are taking control of the Nautilus. We'll use it to escape. Start the engine.
A submersible ship.
She is mine. I want her back.
If you're looking for someone to bring Nemo back in chains, I'm your man. I'm gonna burn the whole damn company to the ground.
My name is Humility Lucas. This man is holding me against my will. When will I be freed?
If I had any choice in the matter, I would never set eyes on you again.
How utterly charming.
That part was that.
Nemo wanted to make a friend.
Yeah.
He is a convict. He is a pirate.
Stubborn.
Brave.
Angry.
Whatever else this Nemo is, he'll be dead soon.
What a prick.
Tell me, where are they headed? The Northeast Passage. There are treasures there beyond the man's imagination. I have come a long way to rescue you.
Did it ever occur to you that I don't need to be rescued?
No.
I'll see your hunt until the ends of the earth.
You'll be hunting in the wrong place.
Because he's in the ocean.
Doesn't matter whether you chose to be here or not. All that matters is that we are each other's best hope. This is going to be such fun. I can hear it breaking.
Nothing is breaking.
The ship is breaking.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
What a great show.
Yeah.
What a great show. And like I say, I hope we do get a second season. But like I say, that's just our quick kind of little thoughts and review on Nautilus, which is available here in the UK on Amazon Prime. And it's available on Stars, I believe, or Starnet, one of the two in the good
It's on Amazon here, but I believe you have to pay for it.
Oh, well, generally, if you've got to pay for it, it means it's because it's free somewhere else. So that's what they do here in the UK. Like, say, for example, there's another streaming service, say Disney, and you want to watch a show and you're not subscribing to Disney Plus, they'd have it, see, on Amazon, but they charge you just to watch the one show or an episode at a time.
Yeah.
Where if you subscribe to Disney Plus, you would just get to watch it all together.
Yep.
But anyway, that has been Nautilus, and me and Mr. Tony of the Dead have a lot planned in the next few weeks.
Yes.
There's a lot of excellent content coming to the entertainment headquarters, which Mr. Tony of the Dead is very much a part of. But we hope you've enjoyed this review. And like I always say, keep on enjoying all things entertainment. Keep on enjoying all your TV shows, streaming and movies. And we'll capture us all at the next one.